I want to say hello to everyone and thank you for joining us today for the presentation of the Men's Spring-Summer 2026 Fashion Week. I am Noémie Voyer, Fashion Curation Manager at Heuritech, and I will be presenting this webinar with Agata Koplianiuk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Agata, and I'm the Senior Fashion Analyst at Heuritech.
So usually, if you follow us for several seasons, you know that we present this webinar with Frida Tordhag, but she's in well-deserved vacation for this one. So today, we are sharing a snapshot of the full report, so just an extract. You will have a free version available on heuritech.com. And for clients, the full version can be already accessible in the platform. If you'd like to dive deeper in the full insights, don't hesitate to get in touch with us via the website. So let me introduce you briefly Heuritech and what is our expertise. What we do is that we quantify and forecast trends adoptions on social media. We do it by geozone, age, and fashion level. So to do so, we first create panels of consumers based on their level of fashion. Are they edgy, trendy, mainstream? Then every month, we use our proprietary algorithms on millions of pictures from these panels to identify attributes such as pants, tops, shoes, fits, lengths, colors, etc. And third, we are able to forecast the adoption of trends per age geozone, fashion level, for 12 to 24 months in advance. And finally, we display all these insights and more in our forecasting platform, but also tailor-made reports. If you are interested in tailor-made reports or the platform, don't hesitate to get in touch to book a demo. So this was to explain our process. And now we are all together to decrypt the key trends for Spring-Summer 2026 menswear season. We're going to compare their visibility on the runway to consumers' forecasted adoption for men in Europe. Let's deep dive in this season's main influence, which is the return to real. Agata, could you explain this concept, please?
So the collections this season weren't just beautiful, they were realistic. Designers turned their focus toward real lives, real needs, and a renewed sense of purpose, which gave us fashion that felt personal, but most importantly, wearable. And all of this comes in the wake of a turbulent time in the luxury industry, where consumers struggle to see value and innovation. So buying luxury isn't perceived as an investment anymore. So what consumers are looking for is not just good design, but things that fit into life in a meaningful way. That means pieces that hold both beauty and value.
Thank you very much, Agata, for explaining the big thematic of the season, giving us an overall understanding of the main influence of the season. And now let's have a look on what the data is showing. So the first data points we're going to go through today are the city spotlights, meaning the main trends from each fashion capitals. And today we'll share what stand out as the biggest trends in Milan. So in Milan, for Spring-Summer 2026, we saw a clear move toward softer textures and a majority of subtle and elegant tones. First, cotton fleece stood out with a 25 jump from last summer and is seen in both sporty and more elevated casual looks. Second, striped pants represent a striking 9% share of Milan's show and saw a sharp growth with 86% season-over-season growth, especially in relaxed tailoring and loungewear. And then we also saw pastels really take off with a 37 growth, They added a fresh and upbeat feel to the season, from mint green knits to blush tone sets. So together, these trends suggest a shift toward dressing that feel grounded, effortless, and intentional. So this was an extract of the City Spotlight analysis. And if you are interested in more, you can contact us to get the full report. Okay, so now that we had an understanding of the key trends of Milan, let's focus on the key aesthetics. In the full report, you will find the 4 themes that maps the whole season. And today we'll focus on one, Sandstorm Edit. So Agatha, can you explain us this aesthetic, please?
Sure. Today, we will talk about the theme that's been inspired by desert landscapes. Sandstorm Edit channels the heat, movement, and structure of wind-carved terrain into directional menswear. When you look closer at the Free Paradis jacket, it appears almost sculpted and by sand blown in the wind. And in this theme, we explore natural erosion shaping silhouettes, but there's an added softness in colors and fabrics that's inspired by the calmness that the desert can evoke. And looking at the key colors of Sandstorm Edit, we focus on beige and light brown shades with sand, mastic beige, and tan. As we head into the warmer months of spring and summer, we move away from richer brown hues and toward sun-aged neutrals. These colors work across categories, from fluid tailoring, as seen at Jacquemus, to workwear at Egon Lab, to everyday spring-summer staples. And we forecast all key colors to increase in consumer adoption in SS'26. For fabrics, we look into a mix of texture and lightness. Open knit, slab jersey, and linen are key. In Sandstorm Edit, open knit steps away from its usual softness, taking on a rougher texture to mimic sun-bleached rain. Same with slab jersey. With its uneven texture, it adds interest to more minimalistic garments. And to bring it all together, it wouldn't be a heat-inspired spring-summer collection without linen, which we forecast to grow by 10% next season.
So Agatha, we mentioned a return to real wearable clothing, but does that imply that creative proposals have become overly basic or less compelling?
Not at all. What we see are redesigned classic shapes that are both interesting and wearable. So let's start with tank sleeve tops and anything but a classic white tank. So we can see edge through form, structure, and texture. Looking at Cetra's proposal, the soft draping and the fluid neckline are balanced by a muted color, styled with loose, deconstructed denim for a perfectly in-between look. And other designers play with cuts, embellishments, or fabrics. And despite a slight dip in adoption forecasted for SS'26, their strong overall presence with massive magnitude signals that tank sleeve tops remain a safe investment. Next up, baggy shorts. And while we all agree that short shorts were the star of the season, for Sandstorm Edit, we look into volume and texture. Think unique hem finishes as seen at Rick Owens and Nicola Pascaletti. For fabrics inspiration, we look into I'm Men, where the sheen fabric elevates baggy shorts. And looking at data, it's a stable trend with 13% forecasted increase in consumer adoption. Lastly, blazer jackets. Reimagined this season with cutouts at Egon Lab and Songzio create unexpected shape reminiscent of natural erosion. Classic silhouettes can also gain new life through textured prints that add depth and character. And with 18% growth forecasted for SS'26, these blazers blend refined tailoring with subtle ruggedness. And for accessories in Sandstorm Edit are all about form and function. Neckerchiefs, Lightweight and easy to style, they add a touch of refinement and movement, just as inspired by desert winds. Sun hats, inspired by designers' global travels, range from wide brims to sculptural shapes, inviting personal storytelling. And square toe shoes, while still a niche, are gaining traction with edgy and trendy consumers. And for this theme, they bring architectural precision to directional menswear. Our starter packs for the themes help you quickly grasp the theme's key trends and aesthetic direction. And you can also see which brands and which collections best reflect the look.
Thank you very much, Agatha. So earlier, we mentioned that the report is built around 4 distinct aesthetics. So could you walk us through the key inspiration from the other 3, please?
So with our next theme, we leave the scorching desert behind and step into garden fantasy, where we explore botanical references spotted on the runways. Then, with Slumber Society, we dive deeper into the sleepwear aesthetic that dominated this season. And finally, we are covering all things cricket, the next big sport inspiring fashion. And I am excited to share that you can find all the details for Summer at Lord's in the short version of our report, which you will receive via newsletter, and it's also available to download on our website.
Thank you, Agatha. Yes. So now that we have a clearer vision of the season through specific themes, let's talk about trends that are most visible across aesthetics, the star trends. So in the report, we have this analysis for colors, prints, shapes, shoes, but today we'll focus on color and shoes. Regarding colors, I guess no one have missed the purple wave that is visible in the majorities of the shows, and the data proves it as well. Helping us to have a fine understanding of what the most trendy hues. So Agatha, can you show us the details of the range for purple in Spring/Summer 2026, please?
So for our analysis with our AI computer vision technology, we collect data on more than 20,000 trends. So we're able to recognize different shades of purple color family and pinpoint the ones that are worth investing into. So we look at runway share and how it shifted since last season. From there, we divided the trends into 2 groups, emerging and established, and visualize this season's runway share with the bubble size on the chart that you can see. So let's start with established trends and Sangria Purple that's leading the palette, and it's a direct transition from burgundy that we all love, but may be growing tired of. Among emerging trends, we see orchid pink and magenta that offer a playful purple-pink vibrancy, as well as indigo and ultraviolet, introducing blue-toned depth. And the standout, taro milk purple that adds pastel softness to deep purple range. And here you can see the versatility of the purple shades and how they can be used to match different themes and styles. Purples can be elevated by luxurious fabrics, as seen at Giorgio Armani, with the look at the bottom of the page. They can also be used with various prints or just add a muted pop of color as seen from Prada. And with this report, we also include additional analysis to show how a specific trend will be adopted in key regions. So we look at our forecasted data for consumer adoption and highlighted what will be the most popular use of purple shades in the United States, Europe, and China. So men in the US will choose to adopt the trend with taro milk purple outerwear that will see 6% growth. European consumers will go for purple pinks in t-shirts, while men in China will opt for purple blue for their tops. Across regions, Purple garments are most popular with either trendy or edgy consumers. So Spring/Summer 26 is a good time for brands to start increasingly introduce the shade into their collections.
So we talked about colors. So let's now see some of the most visible shoes for summer. And I guess everyone had their eye on Jonathan Anderson's debut at Dior Men. And in the very first look of his very first Dior show, fisherman sandals worn with sports socks, instantly showing his modern twist on menswear, where newness relies on proportion and accessorization. They were also seen at Cred Green in a deconstructed form and at Le Maire in a sleek minimalism way. And Heuritech data shows a 15% increase from last year. So it's becoming kind of a new essential, especially for edgy consumers. So these sandals go from utilitarian at Sangzio to more refined at Wu Yongmi or Giorgio Armani. The four looks here show how versatile fisherman sandals are. They fit across all four of our key aesthetics. For other star trends, in our full report, you will find an overview of key prints, key trends that our team spotted for the season. So, as we mentioned before, it's only a short extract of the full report. So we already wrap up the season with a few takeaways. So first, for Spring/Summer 2026, the designers celebrated, as we say, wearable and grounded looks, with a focus on pieces that fit into life in a meaningful way. Second, we also see a calm color palette with fewer vibrant and bold tones. Sun-washed neutrals, such as sand and tan, were highlighted in Sandstorm Edit, along with sky blue, hues of darker greens, and off-white in the other themes. In addition to this soft palette, we just talked about the purple that stood out as a star color. And then, this season's silhouettes are a perfect balance between tailored precision and summer ease, with a connection to nature, as spotted in both our Sandstorm and Garden Fantasy themes. So this webinar is now coming to an end. And if you are interested in the full report, you can visit heuritech.com. And if you'd like a demo, you can already scan this QR code and get in touch with our sales team. I hope you feel inspired and you want to see more, so don't hesitate to reach out. We are thanking you for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon for another data-driven season update. Thank you again, and have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.